Are you looking for a faster video? Well, today it's a live stream, and I know you're probably looking for a really nice and tidy, edited down video, but I have ways for you to make it faster. You can click that little gear on the YouTube settings right there on the video and adjust the playback speed, make me sound like a chipmunk, and it'll go a lot faster. You can also look and see if there's timestamps for this project in the description, and if you're on a desktop, you can hover over the time bar at the bottom of the screen and see if it's chunked up into chapters, and then that way you can go directly to the step you're looking for. And lastly, you can also tap on the screen on the right hand side of the video picture or on the left hand side to make the video jump ahead, forward or backward if you're on a mobile device. And you can adjust that amount in your settings so you can have complete control over how much it jumps. So if you are on a desktop, you can use the fast forward or the rewind, and that will make it go faster as well. You can also enable subtitles, and the little CC on the screen will enable closed captioning. That way, if I am a little bit harder to understand with that double playback speed, the subtitles might help you out. All right, well, I know that it's not a nice little edited video, but if you sew with me, we'll get there together and it'll be lots of fun. And now for the live stream. Happy sewing! Hello, how's it going? How are you? Happy Thursday. Look at all of you. Hey, Fiona and Michelle, Kathy, Emily, Delwyn, Nancy, Sarah, Carrie. How's it going? I always feel like Romper Room when I do that. A show I didn't really like, to be honest, so. All right, so tell me if everything looks and sounds okay. I'm going to be cutting and sewing part one for a little bit of this Sophie top and dress. There's a lot of options with this dress and top. So you can do sleeveless, a sleeve ruffle, what I call a flutter sleeve, and they call a half circle sleeve. Hey, Margaret. There is a top or dress option, and the dress comes in knee length, maxi, yep, knee length and maxi, with or without a ruffle. All dresses come with a little draw cord at the waist, so it's going to cinch a little bit, and they all have a neckband and a placket. So here's a picture of some of the options. If you can see very well there. There's so when you do the fabric requirements, you have to like add it all up, thirds and quarters. Oh, hi, Amy. No worries, hi, Hannah. No worries, Amy. Sorry, it's not the fun part of the sewing. Probably still be cutting by then. Hi, Lydia. How's it going? Welcome, welcome. So I have this really great linen. I didn't link it. I wrote what it is in the description because I feel like I'll get asked. It is really a pretty linen. I do think it's not very drapey. It's not drapey. I feel like it feels a little bit like a quilting cotton as far as the weight goes, but it's a little thinner and not so boardy. Not as tightly woven as a quilting cotton is, even though quilting cotton isn't that tightly woven. I'm not sure where you can buy it because I know where I got it, it's gone. And I only know that because I bought the last bit. I don't remember where it was though. It could be Hearts Fabric, and they might have another color way of it. It also could be Stone Mountain and Daughter. Someone really nice occasionally gives me anonymous gift cards. And so I usually buy a bunch of stuff for the stream, and then I buy myself one nice thing. And this is what I bought last time. So I've been saving it for something, and I think this dress will be really cute. I'm pretty sure it's a two-way print. I'm going to cut off. I'm going to give it a little haircut here. Not that it really matters. I can cut this off. I think it's two-way. Because here's the bottom of the bouquet. And there's the bottom of the bouquet. So the bouquet top, bottom, top, bottom. See, it's two-way. I say that, but I'm still skeptical. Like that looks upside down to me. I don't know. We'll see. Hi, Mullen. Hi. How's it going? Welcome, welcome. Yeah, I love a printed linen too. Hi, RG. Oh, I need to switch to a live chat. Hi, Sydney. All right. Let's hopefully I didn't miss anything yet. All right. So I've printed out my pattern pieces, and then I was looking at the cup size thing because there's one dart and the dart is by cup size. And I started looking at those measurements to figure out which dart I should be doing, and I realized I needed to size up. So I printed it all again and then printed out the large, which seems more in line with where I'm at these days. I was kind of surprised that it was a medium, you know. So, but then I just made the Azores dress and that was a medium, right? That was a medium. I don't remember. Don't quote me on that. Right, Michelle? I know. But you know, sometimes, like, if you cut the front one way and the back another way, I'm just hoping I have enough fabric, right? Because it's not very wide. And this is washed, but all I did was iron the selvage. So it's not that wrinkly. It's not too bad. All right, so let me move that out of the way. So I think I'm going to do French seams, and that means I have to add seam allowances. So I really like a lot of things about 5 out of 4 patterns, but I don't like that they put 3/8 of an inch seam allowance on a woven pattern because, yeah, that's not helpful. On this ruffle, this is the sleeve ruffle. I'm not going to worry about that because I would usually put like a 1/4 inch seam allowance on like a sleeveless armhole or a neckband, right, or neckline. I'll keep the 3/8 on those 2 spots. So this one's fine. There's not a, this is the other thing I'm not a big fan of, is that there isn't pattern pieces for every pattern sometimes. So you have to read through, and I don't print it all out. It's so many pages because there's so many options. So I usually sift through and I just print out what I want. Hey, Libby, how's it going? So let's see. Additional cutting measurements. And I thought the ruffle, the hem ruffle, there wasn't a pattern piece because there are measurements for it. And I think that's just great for people who are like using quilting rulers instead of using a pattern piece, you know. So, but there is a pattern piece for that. And then the placket, there's placket, collar binding, and sleeve binding. The binding I don't need a pattern for. I'm always surprised when I see one of those. All right, so I'm going to leave the collar alone. I'm going to add 1/4 of an inch to this ruffle. Cut 4. Oh yeah, okay. I thought I needed to cut more than that. So that way it'll be 5/8 of an inch along the seamed edges. I don't think I have enough paper there. I was trying. Let's see, I can almost, yeah, I'll be able to get that. I know I have new tape because I recorded a whole video yesterday and it didn't record. Isn't that nice? That's kind of continuing on all my pet mischief. Hi, Deborah, how's it going? We're just getting started. I'm just adding some extra seam allowance because I would like to French seam my dress. On this ruffle, I think you can cheat and not add the extra seam allowance. It's a ruffle. You'd be losing, you know, a little bit in the length, 1/4 inch in the length, and a full inch total, I think, in the circumference, you know. All right, so there we have our ruffle. I have my placket measurements written down here. On the bodice for French seams, I'm only going to add it to the shoulders and sides and waist. I'm going to leave the neck and armhole alone. I'm going to do the, it says for sleeveless with binding or ruffle, use inside cut line. There's a lot of different cut lines, so I'm going to use this one right here. And I'm going to make this really obvious, so I don't accidentally cut on the wrong line. I have to do that. You've seen me. I'm going automatic mode and I will accidentally cut the wrong thing. All right. And if you're doing the dress, so right here on the bodice, you're only seeing one size printed out because they do layers, thank goodness. There's more than one line here. So if I was doing the top, I would do this line here. Since I'm doing the dress, I'm doing this one here because the dress has a seam right here at the waist. Imagine if this didn't have layers, you'd have all these lines. Oof. Oof, that's a big oof. Whoops. I'm on there, I promise I'm on there. But I don't trust that I'll cut the wrong line. There we go. Make it really obvious. Yeah, I'm pretty hard on my patterns, aren't I? It's always these corners. What I'm always worried is, well, this is a fold line, by the way. And this is usually what I do so I don't accidentally cut up. I make a wavy line right here. For me, that makes my brain go, wait, how would I cut that out? You know, I just want to make sure I do that line there. All right, then we have the back bodice. And I determined that I'm a C cup, so I'm going to mark it. It's the line above. Oof, that's a little hard to see. It's the line below on this side. That is really hard to see. Okay. There we go. That's not really lining up, but I'm okay with that. All right, and then C cup right here. Wait. Yep, it's the one under it. Hey, Aisha, how's it going? Aisha. Aisha. I feel like I'm missing a syllable when I say it, Aisha. Aisha? Am I saying it wrong? Sorry. All right, so then we'll do 1/4 inch here. I'm not going to add to the armhole. I'm just making these lines really obvious for me. You do not have to do anything like that. Hi, Rosemary. Did I just cut paper with my rotary cutter? Yes, I did. Yeah. I don't mind. I don't, I think if maybe I was, yeah, I do. I don't really know what else to say. You don't have to. Some people I know have separate rotary cutters. They have one for paper and one for fabric. Hi. And I don't make that distinction. I have not really noticed an adverse effect. I cut a lot though. So I think that, yeah, I always do. I was like, yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm not going to make an excuse for it. I'm not going to condone it. So it's up to you. So the way I feel about it is I really do go through a lot of blades, and I'm kind of klutzy also. So I'm very careful with my rotary knife, but I will admit, I feel like I'm going to nick the blade before I dull it. But I pretty most often, my blades get dull, and it's just, they're going to get dull. So yeah, that's a good idea. I love that idea. But the thing is, oof, The thing is for me, okay, this is another thing I don't like. Did you see when I did this? I went up. The fold line being a dashed line right there, that is kind of confusing. That looks like a cut line to me. And so if you are nervous about accidentally cutting your patterns that aren't supposed to be on the fold, make it a solid black line. That'll probably be a little bit more. I'm using my red grain line ruler. Oh well. Kaiser, Aisha. Thank you. Aisha. All right. Yeah, so the other thing is that a lot of my pattern pieces aren't all the way cut out yet. So I'm going to lay this on fabric and cut. So it's going to get cut anyway with the paper. So, all right, so let's see. I'm just going to add it to the skirt here, and then we're ready to go. See, same thing here. This is a fold line. I want a solid black line. Not, because if you're going to put my size right there, it looks like a cut line to me. Because my size is this blue dashed line. That is a little bit confusing to me. It took me the longest time. I was trying to find where the pocket markings were on this, and I don't know why, but I just was not seeing that big, gigantic blue diamond. Like, whoops. All right, so this is a knee length. So I'm just going to cut this off so I don't accidentally cut my dress longer than I want, because I don't have a lot of fabric, so I don't want to really make a mistake. Cut it too big. All right, I'm just adding seam allowance to do French seams because I likes them. All right, let's get cutting though. Let's hope we're not playing any fabric chicken. I'm glowing. Hi, Violet, how are you? What are you doing tonight? All right. So what do we think about the one-way nature? I think it's two-way. See? Stems here, top of bouquet here, stems here, top of bouquet there. A little nervous. All right, so I need 2 skirts. I'm gonna kind of roughly lay out my pattern pieces so that I make sure I have enough. And then we'll be ready. Okay, so I need 2 of these on the fold. Like I don't even think I can get a whole bodice across. What will I be able to get anything along the side there? Maybe. I need 2 of these. Oof. I need 4 hem ruffles. I swear I laid this out. So if I can get, I'd have that much left. Yeah, there's just no way I can get another bodice there. I can't even, maybe I can get my neck band. Maybe. Here's this bodice. Same problem. I need 2 skirts. Okay, so if that's, okay, maybe we're better. Okay, my backup plan is that I'll put a seam down the center back. Okay, cool. Well, if you are and you want to hang out, let me know. Yeah, right, Aisha? Exactly. All right, so 1, 2. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm doubting. All right, I'm going to cut a little bit here. What's my backup plan? I could do a shorter ruffle. I could do no ruffle and a longer dress. I could put the back on with a seam, because then I can get one front right here. Can I even get one? I can't even get one back there. Oh, yeah, I could, because that would be opened up. Okay, yeah. All right. I can get my sleeve, and then I need one more back, and then the neckband. I could line my neckband with a contrast. So here's my skirt. Let's see what, I know you can't see this, but I'm just kind of laying it out here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I can get 4. Ooh, it's gonna be really close. Hi, Vestigia. It's gonna be really close. All right. I mean business. I'm just going hand back my grand dogs who've been on holiday here. Oh, nice. Okay. All right, let's get the front on here. And then I get to a point when I'm trying to plan and I'm like, okay, I think it's going to be really close. I may be making some tough choices. Yeah, maybe no ruffle. And I get to a point where I just have to see it. Like, I get kind of like impatient, you know? So then I want to know. I want to know the ending, you know? So. Okay, cool, D-Mac. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, Michelle. I'm going to get the bodice all cut. Well, I'm going to get the front bodice cut. I'm going to get the front bodice cut. Just so I can get some of this out of the way. I am a little nervous, though. Red line, red line, red line, red line, red line. There's no like dart shaping here, so I'm just gonna kind of wing out around this like this, because I don't want there to not be enough fabric to go into my French seam there. It may be sufficient just like as it is, I just don't know, so I'm just gonna give myself a little bit just in case. All right, this has a placket at the neck. I have 2 bins down there, one for fabric and one for paper. I keep using these pins on this pin cushion for cutting things out, and I'm down to like 5. Let's see. If there's that, I think there's like all these endings here. I think I'm gonna do the one that's backed off a little bit. I'm gonna mark these on the wrong side just so they're ready. Being kind to my future self. In general, I really like cutting things out on the wrong side of the fabric facing out, so that, you know, I can do like the markings and stuff. Okay, so we have our dart. We have our bodice. I don't think I need any more markings off of this. No, looks good. All right. So I don't know about the sideways ruffle, because this would definitely look different. Like that would be, it would be like this. I'll show you. So if this is the skirt sewing to the ruffle, right? This would be the skirt. This would be the skirt, right? This would be the ruffle. There's a, maybe I could pass it off. Maybe you're right. Well, Libby, I mean, you know, I'm feeling confident. It is a pattern. It's the Hero, Hiro, by Julia Farwell Clay. It's an amazing pattern. She's a very good pattern writer. Yeah, if you're on a Ravelry, I highly recommend looking at what people have made with her pattern with this, the Hero, because the colorway, there's so many great colorways. And it's a really easy way to do color work, but there are 5 different colors. So I think 5 different. Okay, so I need my skirt. Now part of me just wants to cut the skirt right now. I won't do it, don't worry. But I want to look at, what are we talking here? So if this was the fabric I allotted for my skirt, I wanted to see how much is on the side there. Yeah, sure. There is no facings. It's interesting because the armhole doesn't tell you to finish it. I'm gonna bind it. Hopefully I have fabric for that. I also need a big long cross grain piece for the drawstring for the waist. All right, so I have a lot right there. So that could be the collar. Oh, where's the pocket pattern? Where's the pocket? All right, let me look at my medium. I printed out the medium, remember? And we're not using it. Here it is. I have pocket patterns coming out my ears right now. I'm going to use theirs. Which we can just use any old fabric for, right? All right, so we could potentially, we can get this here, maybe, if I can get a piece that's on the fold over there. All right, so this is spoken for, and potentially these 2 pattern pieces are taken care of. All right, so let's see where we're at. We're just gonna go back and forth. We're gonna make sure. My table's feeling a little small though. When I see people setting up those the projector spaces, I think that surface is so tiny to cut on. Then I'm like, that's exactly what you're cutting on, Saremy. Don't panic. So I need 4 ruffles and 1 back bodice. 1. And I'm gonna have, I know what I can do. I can piece my ruffle more. Yeah, we talked about it in, I think, a workshop, Aisha, or a Zoom or something. You guys, I wore it the other day. I don't get very many opportunities to wear the sweater because it's not generally cold enough here. It's worsted weight, which is pretty heavy duty for where I live. Goes pretty fast though, because that worsted weight, right? So I could piece my ruffles further because look, this whole ruffle, I would have this much extra. Do we like that though? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm so close. What if this was on the fold right here? No. Right here. No. All right. And those really my only, oh, and my sleeves. My sleeve ruffles, I'll do along the hem ruffle. We're close. We're really close. Let's really put, I'm going to push it. Probably going to give a couple of you a heart attack right now, but I'm going to cut my skirts out. Everybody stay calm. Well, you do 2 ruffles per skirt. So there are ruffle seams at the center and on the sides. And I was just kind of proposing, well, what if I just chunked it up a little bit more? I wonder also, wait, let's just look at one thing. All right, here's my skirt, right? Here's my skirt, here's my skirt. Right there. Okay. What if I did do the ruffles? I committed to doing them sideways, right? Ooh, this might be the way. Because 1, 2, I mean, that's 4 right there, right? That leaves a piece that is to here. Look at that. That's a bigger piece. There we go. We'd be fine with that. We'd be fine with that barely because we're going to use a little bit of that for the fold. We'd have to go like, I think right there. Oh, no, we're not fine. We're not fine. Or, okay. So many options. All right. What if we did 1 ruffle there? This linen's a little narrower than usual, not much though. And I think I was like, you know, the way you have to total up your yardages for the pattern when it has lots of options made me kind of go, yeah, they were rounding up, right? All right, so there's 2 of my ruffles right there. Here's my bodice back. I just need 2 more ruffles. I still need sleeve ruffles and neckbands. But look at that, I can get 1, 2 sleeve hem ruffles there. I could get my neckband here. And then can I get my sleeve ruffles here? Yeah, we got it. Yeah, all right, but our hem ruffles are sideways. Yeah, exactly, Michelle. Same for me. It got really windy and cold this week. Okay, wait. I just need to focus here. We're going to get 2 of these ruffles out of the way. And if the ruffles look funny sideways, I'm just going to blame it on Michelle. That's my plan. It could, you know, I was thinking about making the the dress a little longer and then the ruffle a little shorter. Because sometimes tricks like that, it's kind of amazing why you can get a bigger, one piece bigger, but the other one you can't, you know, so. There's a pin on my table. All right, so let's get 2 of these ruffles out of the way. I just measured that. It didn't feel on grain. I think I was off. Look at that. I can see the grain line of the linen, you know? Yeah, okay. That's better. I like using this piece for this ruffle because it really uses up all of it there, and that's just a better use of fabric sometimes when you can use up all of a space, you know. Yeah, Michelle, you better be ready. But we're not going to be too cavalier about this. We're going to make this the width of the ruffle, just in case I need something over there. All right. All right, I'm going to go for that. Live streams are like, they're like Fight Club, right? What happens in the live stream stays in the live stream. No one's going to know my ruffle is sideways, right? Because you guys aren't going to tell. And if someone says, is your ruffle sideways? I'm going to be like, I don't know what you're talking about. You know? Okay. I'm going to notch the center because I'm pretty sure that's going to be useful. 2 ruffles. All right, so now what are we down to? 2 ruffles, a center back, and skirts. Thank goodness that it's not one way. Yeah, right? Yeah, I will, I'll cut my ruffles on the cross grain. But, oh, you mean the fabric. Sorry, I'm choking. Yeah, the reason I don't think it's from this fabric isn't from one fabric store is because it wasn't cut terribly off grain. It's not great, but because one of the fabric stores has a pretty serious issue with cutting things off grain all the time. And that is pretty triggering for me. I'm not that picky, you guys. You guys know that. But that kind of bugs me, especially when I'm buying $40 a yard fabric or something nice, you know? It's a feature. Right, Mullen? Oh my gosh, me too. It's like a personal challenge. I say that, but I'm sure you guys have seen me be pretty cavalier with my fabric on here too, you know? All right, so I want to cut this so that I can still get my sleeve ruffles. Ooh, look at all that fabric. Ooh, I'm gonna be able to get my 2 sleeve ruffles right there. I mean, honestly, here it is, standing on a 10. One, 2, but that is also, there's no grain line on this pattern piece. when I see something on the fold, in general, I assume it needs to go like this, and that's how I would place this one. It would go, this would be the length grain. In this case, you could kind of fudge it being on the cross grain because technically then it would be in line with the bodice, but that is not a good excuse. So, Louise, aw, nice to see you. It's been a while. How you been? All right, so I'm going to fold this. Okay. I want it all in grain. It's a little risky cutting two at the same time. I think this is not folded right. Oh, it's not it's barely off. Okay. Happy New Year to you too. What's an easy way to tell if your fabric is off grain? It's not like the fabric itself is off grain. And it's not a new question at all. It is kind of subtle, and I think a lot of people get kind of crotchety when I bring it up, especially people who've been sewing a long time. It's where they cut your fabric, the cut edge here, when they cut that off grain. And I can talk to you a little bit about it in just a second. I'll show you, because I don't have a edge, I don't think, anymore, but I can still demonstrate it. It's like my personal little quest in the sewing world. I'm hoping that by the time I die, fabric companies are cutting on grain again. I don't think it's really going to happen, trust me. All right, so this is my skirt, and this is where the hem ruffle is going to go. I'm going to notch the center of that and the center of this. And on one of these, you need this buttonhole placement, which is right here. I make it wavy so I know it's on the fold, Nancy, so I don't accidentally cut along that line. It's just something I've done for a long time. It's nothing like, it's not some secret or anything. It just, for me, it calls attention to it, especially because 5 out of 4 doesn't put a solid line on their cut on fold thing. So for me, it's really good so I don't accidentally cut along that line. Oh yeah, no worries, Carrie. I don't mind telling you about it. All right, so here's my buttonhole. So, do I have a Crayola marker here? That would be a good use for that. Let me get one. Is my microphone hitting this shawl pin, you guys? Sorry. All right, so right here. Let's see if I transferred any ink to the other side. Oh, I didn't. With 3/8 of an inch on either side of the center. So we'll just hand draw the other one in. 3/4 of an inch away, right there. All right, and I'll do that on Saturday with my home machine. Yeah, the wavy line, it just was a problem, especially when I was somewhat new to sewing, you know. I would accidentally cut along that fold. I'm pretty sure that's when I did it. It's either that or when I was working at this high school after-school program. I would sometimes just add it to people's patterns, and because in your mind you're like, wait, do I really cut a wavy line? It just makes you stop. That's all it is. I do it often to a lot of patterns if it's not very obvious. I'm going to put my my pocket notches here on all 4 side seams. All right, now we have our skirts. Okay. And then I have this little piece here. Okay, I think I can cut that off. I think I'm safe. So nervous. I can get my ruffles here. Look at all that. Oh, I could even do hem ruffles here. Ooh. Can I get 2? Can I get 2? No. I get 1. Maybe I'll stick with the sleeve ruffle being on the cross screen. All right, let's just keep working first. All right, we still need our back. Oh, I'm sorry, Fiona. Yeah, it's like one of the, I mean, we all make mistakes, right? We make them all the time. But at the same time, some of them you can fix, right? You can come back from them. But that one is really hard to come back from, the cutting down the center. Yeah, the half box with arrows, exactly, Nancy. Oh, I'm sorry, Penny Pinch. Oh man, I had such a weird day yesterday. It didn't involve sewing, but I was so worried by the time I started streaming that I was like, ooh, today's gonna be high sewing drama, because I had this hummingbird feeder fail when I hang up, so all the sugar water went whoosh 2 times in a row, by the way. And then I went upstairs and my cat was throwing up under my bed. Then I found my dog completely inside the litter box, like fully just walking around in there, chilling, you know. And then, so when I got here, I was like, oof, I don't even want to mention all this. I'm a little nervous. What's going to happen, you know? Okay, so what I have left is this back bottom. Look at all this fabric I have. I need 2 ruffles. I need my sleeve ruffles. I need pockets. I need a neckband, which I've now lost. It's probably just in this bin right here. Or not. Oh, there it is. It's not cut out yet. And I need my neckbands. This I actually need out of at least 1 layer out of real fabric. Pockets I can get away with not. So let's just roll this all out and see where we're at. Oh, here's my pocket. Never mind. All right. Yeah, we do. I mean, yeah, and sometimes I have those kinds of sewing days and I just know I should just probably stop. Okay, so then at the end of the day yesterday, I recorded a whole video and it actually went so good. And then I looked and it didn't record at all and I was like, I literally out loud said, going home. Just packed up and went home. And I was telling my husband when I got home, he was like, so did your day go a little better when you got there? I was like, yeah, actually it was fine. Stream, everything was fine. I said, but then I recorded this video and it went really good. And he's like, that's good. I'm like, yeah, it didn't record. He's like, oh. He was like all excited. All right, can I get these in here? This is such a weird, you know, angle. I don't think so, but you never know. Oh yeah, no problem. So I could get my neck bands in this little section here, right? That leaves my sleeve ruffles, 2 hem ruffles, and a back. I will never stop trying to get this to work right here. I don't know if I won the Tetris yet, but I think it'll be fine. And it is mainly because I put my hem ruffles. Oh, look at that. I can get this right here. I put my hem ruffles on the cross grain. All right, we're gonna cut this back out right here because I think that I'm not gonna get much better than this. And then that will leave. Does that work? Is that gonna work? Wait a minute. Okay, if you're there, right? Okay, yeah, you fit there. All right. I'm trying to get my sleeve ruffles not on the cross grain. That's why I'm kind of fussing with it right now. I have to have my skirt ruffle on the cross grain since the other two are. I need the arm ruffle here. Oh, this really long piece. Oh yeah, that's fine, but it's not on the straight grain. Okay, if I do one hem ruffle here, all right? Okay, that's taken care of right there. Then I only use one length here. To here. And then can I get these two across? Oh, so close. Baking, things just go badly, yeah. Yeah, I know that one. I haven't cut my back yet. If I just put the arm ruffles, yeah, I'm just gonna do that. I think all in all, it'll be easier to succumb to this than trying to make it work another way. It's such a big piece. Let's see if I can get two here. It's a pretty big piece. All right. Lots of cutting gymnastics. In some respects, you really want to work hard when it's a nice fabric too, right? Because then you know you've used all of it. There's nothing left. All right. I think I can slide that down a little more. Cool. Any little bit might get me my pockets. All right. Got those on there. So let's see, if this is the top, then we're going to notch the top edge at the center and we're going to leave the bottom edge unnotched, and then that way we'll know that that's the top. And it probably goes maybe to the shoulder, but it probably goes honestly in front of the shoulder. But there we go. So now we have our sleeve ruffles. Have you ever had that moment where you've done something and you're like, okay, I'm doing good, I've got it, and then you realize it says cut 4? Oh, now with my dog. No. No, it was my dog. Okay, I still need 2 skirt ruffles, right? Sorry, this is such a Tetris, you guys. We still need 2 skirt ruffles. So let's say we put those right here, right? They have to be on the cross grain anyway. This is a pretty good use of the space. Why didn't you ask? Why didn't you just say, why is that a problem? All right, get that on grain. All right, so now we have our second skirt ruffle. We have our bodice up here, and we just need our neckband and our pockets. All right, home stretch, guys. Thanks for hanging in there. Has anyone made this here? And which, if you did make it, which features did you choose? I'm curious. It looks like such a, like a completely different pattern sometimes when I see it, you know, when you use different features. It's so many patterns in one. All right. So I can still get my bodice in this right here, right? Look at all this fabric I have. I have so much fabric. But do I really? Probably not. All right, well, I can get my neckbands there. I bet I can't get my pockets though. So part of me wants to, oh, that just won't work. Okay, never mind. All right. So let's cut the back out. You're here for the dentist. You're just hoping I have drama. No, you guys. All right. I put a poll in my community tab today because I realized I haven't picked my next patterns for the Let's Be Honest pattern review series. And I thought, well, maybe I'll ask you guys, do you want me to pick them out of a hat on camera? Do you want me to just pick something and just get on with it? And there's even, you can put a suggestion if you have a request. If I don't have the pattern, I can't quite guarantee it. I don't think I can get a pocket there, but you never know, right? Close. Close enough, I'll just save it just in case. All right. Let's see, what markings? I'm going to put one at the center back neck here for the center back neck band. I'm going to put one at the center back waist right here. And I think that's all this needs. Those will be really helpful though when we're putting on the skirt and putting on the neckband. Just because a pattern doesn't have notches doesn't mean you can't put your own notches. Oh yeah, oh my gosh, Michelle. Oh, I need a, I need a draw cord. You're right. I don't want to piece it. I should have just cut that off of the edge right off the bat. Because I think cross grain would work. You know? Let's see. I need 43 inches by 1.5 inches. which would be like one width of the fabric, you know, 30. And I need the plackets. This is why having actual pattern pieces is really helpful, because you don't forget your pattern pieces then. Right. Let's put the neckband on here. But could I get... Well, we'll put a seam at the center back, and we can anchor it back there too. Oh shoot. So the hummingbird story is that for some reason the other day I filled the hummingbird feeder, and let's see, can I get this like that? I filled the hummingbird feeder, made sure the bottom was on, hung it up, and then all of a sudden the bottom fell off of it and it went whoosh. All of the sugar water just left. Didn't have enough sugar to make, I didn't want to use all of our sugar to make another batch. So we waited. My husband got a little bit more sugar because the hummingbirds are like really, really in need of it right now. And so, before I even had coffee or anything, I was still like in my pajamas and I'm barefoot. I just thought real quick, I'm going to fill this hummingbird feeder and hang it up. And so that was yesterday. And so I went to hang it up. I made sure the bottom was on there really good. I made sure the top was on there, and the top is just like the part that hooks onto the thing it hangs from. So it's just like a cap that screws onto the bottom of a bottle. And the bottle, it's like the bottom of the bottle. And so I made sure that was on there. I hung it up there. It sat there for a minute, and then the whole top popped off and the whole thing fell and broke. Then I just went back to bed. Like usually I just sit in bed, drink coffee for a little bit, you know, check out my phone, read my email, you know, do calm things. And so yeah, that was a hummingbird story. Yeah, and then I took my shower, and that's when I looked out, and then I came upstairs right after that. I had to get in bed, drink my coffee, and the cat was throwing up under the bed. It's not really that funny. But here's my trick, you guys. I have a cat that sometimes does that. And so I have a little rug under the bed for him to hang out on because he really likes being under there. And he's so polite. He's like the most polite cat that he throws up on the rug. So I just slid out the rug, cleaned it off, put that in the laundry. And that's probably what Loki was looking for in the litter box. He was like, where did she put that? That glorious morsel, you know? Okay, I almost went whoop, and cut that off. All right, here's my neck bands. It doesn't say to use interfacing for this. I'm going to make interfacing for this because I don't want it to wrinkle very much. And I'm going to look for my cheat sheet for Placket cutting pieces, which is right here. I really got to make sure I keep these pattern pieces straight too. All right, so let's do the draw cord. Unfortunately, it's not on the length or cross grain. I'm going to use this ruler here. I have all these long strips of fabric now. It's 33 inches. All right, so I'm going to make it 2 of them at like 23 right here. Okay. I think I'll do that trick that where if I piece it together with a diagonal seam, it'll reduce the bulk of the seam because it places the seam along the draw cord, and then the bulk isn't just in this one spot, and that really helps. So I'll do that. And I cut this a little longer, so at least I can. Yeah, we'll just... There we go. All right, there's my draw cord. That definitely does not seem long enough. All right, what's left? Plackets, which I can use here from this stuff, and my pockets. One. Okay, I can get two probably there. Ooh, I think I can get my pockets out of my fabric. That's pretty amazing. I'm gonna make sure I get my plackets first. Okay. I need one that is, everybody needs one these sizes. This is the same for all sizes. You need one that's 6 inches long and 5.5 inches long and 2 1/4 inches wide. Sorry, I don't know the metric off the top of my head. But let's see, I'll just draw it on here. Two 1/4. I'm only using this ruler because it is wider than my 2-inch ruler. So it's kind of handy for doing like that 3-inch wide piece and this placket here. And then we'll do one at 5.5 and one at 6. Let's go across here because I might cut it off a little bit. Six and 5.5. There we go. And we'll do some interfacing of these. Now we are down to our pockets, and then we get to sew. Right. I already added seam allowance around this, so I can do a French seam, side seam pocket. I need one right side up and one face down. Do I have it? Maybe if I put this over here, then I'll have it. I really wanted this seam of this top of this pocket to go into the waistband, waist seam, but it's just too low. Make sure if you're cutting your pockets, hey Deborah, welcome, that you always do, you know, 2 face down, 2 face up. This is, I feel like at this point when you're cutting your pockets, you're usually like, okay, cool, I get to start sewing soon, at least for me, and I will cut all my pockets in all the scraps, and then I'll do them all face up. That's no fun. All right, so now I have a left set and a right set. Okay, so we just need our interfacing for these pieces right here. I'm going to use this and this. I really like using this really narrow stuff that I bought for narrow things like this. It just makes it easier to cut. I don't know, I'm just not that great at cutting things that are square, perfectly square, you know? I find these little pieces really helpful too. They're great for pocket openings, like belt pockets and things. I'm pinning these so that I don't lose them. All right, now we're gonna do our neck bands. And then we're gonna start sewing. I'm gonna focus on the bodice today. So I'll probably do the placket first, shoulders, darts, sleeve ruffle, and then maybe we'll be calling it a day. And then we'll finish on Saturday. Oh, I only need one. Ah, okay. I don't like cutting narrow things like this on the fold. It's really inaccurate a lot of times. I like the narrow things to be kind of opened up. All right. I didn't do the center notch of my neckband. That'll be really essential. You could do it at the top and the bottom since the neckband's going to itself. Just make sure you stay in the seam allowance. These aren't really scissors for this. And then that part that it goes to the bodice, that'll be really helpful. I'll iron it first and then we'll do it since it's a little fiddly right now. All right. I just got that from Waywack, and I bought it thinking it was stretchy because it's tricot, and it's not. It's stretchy across the width, but I wanted it stretchy across the length. I guess that was just too much to hope for. And I use it on wovens. I use it everywhere. And you can get narrow rolls like that in different widths. That's a 3-inch roll. I find the 3 inch is actually really helpful because I use a lot of 2-inch pieces and it leaves a nice 1-inch long narrow strip that I find helpful for things. And I think 3 inches is really great for like a waistband if it's cut straight, or a long placket on a shirt. But plackets are obviously narrower. They have it in black and white, but you don't have to get tricot. You can just get like a fusible woven on a roll like that, and I really like it. It's really handy. When I discovered it wasn't stretchy, I was really disappointed because I really wanted to use it like in knit underwear waistbands, or maybe on some hems of some stretchy knits, just something to kind of make it not wrinkle as much and kind of give it some body. And so I was kind of disappointed it doesn't stretch. I have used it, like I used it on the Deer and Doe Scirocco jumpsuit on the neckband there. And then I cut the neckband a little longer because it kind of hinders the stretch. It made a nice finish, but it does hinder the stretch a little bit. So I'm going to go to the serger and we're going to iron on this interfacing. Yeah, I went and looked for it the other day on their site, and they didn't have an image for it, but it's there still. I've been having mixed results with the fusible woven lately. Like, I used to have a really great batch that Hearts Fabric sent me, and then same with Needle Sharp subscription box. They had sent me some, and they were awesome. And then I bought some at that Mill End, not a Mill End, yeah, Mill End store in Oregon, which isn't an online store. You can only go inside. It looked just like the regular old stuff that I buy on a bolt, but for some reason it leaves a texture on the surface of the fabric, and I do find it would shrink things up a little bit. So that all ran out, and now I'm using stuff I got from Joann Fabrics, and I just bought a bolt of it, and it seems to be a little bit more stable. And when I find that that happens, when it, especially for the shrinking thing, what I'll do is I'll apply it to both sides. So like on my husband's Fairfield button-up that was plaid, what happened was I knew the plackets were perfectly cut because I matched all the plaids. So I had literally could see. But because one placket was fused, it shrank. And I'm not talking about a 1/4 inch. I'm talking about like an inch. You know, it was a lot. And so then when I put the buttons and buttonholes to match all the plaids, I had to kind of do a little bit of magic. And I'm not a very magical person, so it was definitely a trial, you know. So now what I do to combat that is iron both plackets. So if they're going to shrink, they're going to shrink together. Dang, I'm choking. I'm going to mute my microphone. I don't know how, but I'm going to cough. Okay, that's better. I just felt like I kept swallowing wrong, you know? All right, so these are fused, I think, pretty good. So like these pieces have the tricot, and then this one right here has the stretch woven. I try and use the same thing, but you know, like I think that it would probably be smart to do this side too sometimes, but it just depends on how thick you want it to get. This doesn't feel too thick. That's what I like about the stretch woven is it doesn't make your stuff stiff. I'm going to look at it and see if it shrank. Because even if it doesn't shrink, sometimes it'll feel like it because it's more stable, you know. That looks pretty good though, huh? Let's give it a press. All right, and then I'm going to mark the center of this one too, now that I can. All right, let's sew. I need to get rid of all these pattern pieces though. Mouse, keyboard, water, project. Let me move that face cam before I turn you guys around. Hi Heidi, how's it going? I'm going to turn the light. That works. Oh, the mic come. Did it make a noise? Oh, poor Fox. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Fox. All right. My mouse doesn't work on my bed of my machine. Did it make a like a noise? All right. How's this look? Looks okay. Do we think that that's bright enough? Maybe we could zoom in a little. That's my cat too. He's this big behemoth of a cat, you know? 20-pounder. But a big scaredy pants. Just like a little ruffle. Oh, so whoop. Oh, your Winslow culottes. For the interfacing. Oh yeah, because that has a straight waistband. That would be nice for that. You know, what I love about that roll of interfacing is it's really, really affordable. Like, it's very, very affordable. And I personally hate cutting really long, straight, narrow pieces of interfacing. Don't you feel like sometimes it's like gets all wonky, or you're like, that's straight. Maybe you use your ruler and it's straight, but it's actually at a diagonal. And then when you put it on your shirt, you're like, why won't this go on there? It just takes that quotient out for me. So I like that part of it. All right, so my sleeve ruffle, skirt. I'm going to stack all my pieces now the way I'm going to sew them. So we're going to do the hem ruffles, pockets, and skirts together. And the drawcord. What is this right here? This is the front, I hope. Yeah, front, placket, shoulders, neckband, ruffle. I even wrote a cheat sheet. Yeah, yeah, no worries. The pattern is the Hero sweater by Julia Farwell Clay. I can put it in the chat. Let's see if I can just Google it. Oh, there it is. My colorway looks a lot like the cover image. And that was somewhat unintentional because I let the folks at Miss Babs, Miss Babs Yarn, pick out my yarn. I'm kind of like that sometimes, you know, like certain things I'm just like, I want complete control over it. But other times, like when I'm at a show, when I used to sell at, you know, shows, I was just a little bit like tired and overwhelmed and literally would probably be happy with just about anything within reason. And so I would go to like certain people I knew I could do this with, and I would say, hey, what I want to make one of these 4 sweaters. I would narrow it down. These are my 4 sweaters I want to make. Do you have a sweater quantity of yarn in any of the yarn weights that would work for one of these sweaters? And then they would say, oh yeah, because it would narrow it down instantly, because most of the yarn sellers at shows are bringing shawl or sock amounts, not sweater quantities. And so then, yeah, Miss Babs won't steer you wrong. Her gal that she has picking out color is really amazing. And this isn't probably the colorway I would pick because I want to do something different than the cover image, but I love it. I love the colors. And that just narrows it down. So at the end of the show, I don't do this at the beginning of the show. I am a very polite customer as far as a vendor. I wait till the end because often sometimes they'll give you a little discount or they'll trade with you, and I'm not going to use their like prime stock that they came to the show with for that too. So yeah, and that's what it was that year. It was Stitches Midwest that I was at, and it was a slow Sunday, and I got of the 4 sweaters, Hero was the one I won on. And this yarn, it's really, really warm, but it pills really badly. So you actually don't see me wear it very much. And the only reason I wear it here is because you can't see the pilling on camera as bad. And then I think I added the color work on the sleeve. I'm not sure that's in the pattern. Knowing Julia, it probably is. She used to come to chat a lot. I don't know if you guys remember her. Oh yeah, it's in the sleeves. It's the chickadee that I added it to. Anyway, enough about knitting. Here we go. All right, so we're going to start with the Placket. And I did print out their instructions because it was like 6 or 7 pages long, which made me nervous. Here's my tip. You can print 2 pages on 1 page. You pick 2 by 1 as your layout, so it's 2 images on 1 row. These are my inside tricks for printing, pattern instructions. And you pick landscape. And then I also do both sides. And so I got down 2, 4, 6 pages to 1.5, which is nice. I do that on instructions where they're just like really spelling it out. So I couldn't remember which. You start on the wrong side, and it's the long one that goes on this one here. And then they say to leave about a 1/2 inch above the neck. And we're going to sew along this edge here. What is this? And then we go a 1/2 inch past the end of this V. And they say you'll have about 1.5 inches of your placket sitting below the V here. Hey Barbara, how's it going? Let's see, so I think that's about where the top is, right there. That's not quite 3/8 though, is it? Try not to do this when you're doing stuff like this. Try and keep it nice and stable. So there's my V. I'm going to go about a 1/2 inch past. And I have a feeling that that 1/2 inch is the center line of your garment. Because see, look at, there's my end of my stitching, and that lines up with the V right there, and I can see a gentle fold in my fabric. So that's what that looks like. All right, so then, okay, yep. On the wrong side is where I place the shorting. Okay, so now we're already doing the other one. Okay, cool. Same thing. Leave it a 1/2 inch above that neckline there. I would do this a little differently, so I decided I'm going to follow the instructions because I want to make sure I don't steer anybody differently. And this one says you'll have about 1 inch hanging past the V. And then sew down, continuing 1/2 inch past the opening. Okay. Which is basically the end of that placket for me. All right. That's already 2 pages. 23. Flip the shirt over so you're looking at it right sides together. Right sides together. Make 2 cuts diagonally. So basically you're going to cut from the bottom of your V towards your stitching. Mine doesn't look quite like the picture. So you would have a triangle. My triangle is a little asymmetrical. I'm more worried about the point of this V here, personally. Do not clip the placket fabric either. I may have done that. Use a piece of wash away Wonder Tape. I don't have that. I don't use that. Push the triangle down so it's right side to right side. Okay, like this. I'm going to get that. Basically, you need to slit to your stitching so that you can actually bend this back. All right, so we're going to, my triangle is looking funny. Alright, I'm already kind of botching this. Flip bars over the wrong size up, pull short. I kind of wish I just now... I just want to know how you do the end, that's all. I just want to know how you finish it. Do you just turn it under and top stitch it? Where do you finish the bottom edge of the placket? That's what I want to know. Fold. Okay. Hey, Terry, how's it going? I keep forgetting. I know that the schedule isn't as every Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, is it? All right. I'm gonna iron this. Make sure you don't lose your pins for your dart right here. We're gonna iron this one. We're gonna pull it to the front. I'm gonna fold under this edge here on, I'm gonna do it on both plackets. And then I'm gonna fold it just past that stitch line and iron that. Now let's do this one. All right, now we're gonna fold this one just past the stitch line. Just like that. I'm not sure, oh yeah, okay, it's this one's gonna go over that one. So basically now what we're gonna do is we're going to edge stitch here and here, and then we're going to turn this under and stitch it down with a box. But what if we clean finish this first? Yeah, we'll do that. I'm gonna do a little bit different. Hey Fiona, how's it going? It sounded like you had quite a day yesterday, Terry, and I meant to ask you how it's going. Is it going better today, I hope? So last night, to continue with all the weird little things I had happen to me. Hey Ray, I didn't see you. You forgot to. I filled up my water glass and my water bottle to take upstairs, and then I went to put my lid on the water bottle and it started slipping into my water glass, and to save it from falling in the water glass, I knocked over the water bottle. I was like, yeah, I'm kind of a klutz today. Maybe it's it was the full moon. All right, so I'm going to put this right sides together, the long placket. I'm going to put the right sides together, and I'm just going to sew across the bottom at 3/8 of an inch seam. I think that this will make this part a little easier. I'm going to clip the corner. I'm going to turn it nice. There's plenty of space to do this with, and so that's why I'm going to do it. All right, so now I need to kind of repress this edge here. So I'm going to press this open and press it along that already pressed edge right there, just like that. And so I kind of open these things up like this, flatten them out, kind of retrain them, because that is kind of thick there. But this will be easier than trying to fold it under and make it look nice. All right, let me show you where we're at. Oof. You're right. I know, exactly, Carrie. I was thinking that. I was like, what would I normally just do to make this all, just check out? And I realized it was sewing, which I was already doing. So, okay. Just like looking at it. This I feel like could be a little bit more flat. I sewed straight across. But does it look straight across? No. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to trim down this seam allowance right here. Just reduce the bulk there so that maybe it'll lay a little flatter too. All right, I'm going to stitch down the short side, and I'm just going to stitch along this edge here. That fold goes right past the original seam line. Oh, nice, Derry. That's awesome. I wanted to zoom in. Where am I going here? I hate how the dialogue for this comes up covering the view of the camera when I'm literally going to adjust the view of the camera, and then the dialog box to do that covers up so I can't see what I'm doing. Oops. That's a little better, right? So see, this is that short placket side. I still have the raw edge down there. I'm not a big fan of that because that means it's going to stay raw on this side. I don't get, that's like, is it really going to just stay raw on the inside? Yeah. Well, all right. Try not to distort anything there. All right, so then this is what this short side looks like, which is the right side of the garment as if you're looking at it, and left side if you're wearing it. Thanks, Ray. I mean, they clean finish it on this one. They just don't clean finish this one, so it is going to be a raw edge on the inside. Unless I missed something, but... And it's supposed to, like... Yeah, I don't know how you would get that in there, though. All right, and so now we're going to finish off this one here. Let's just press the seam allowance right here. Make it as flat as possible. Press it again. And now press this open again, and then fold it along this long edge right here. I really want the placket to be the same width all the way down. All right, I'm just gonna hold this with a pin. It's not perfect yet. I'm gonna hold it though. All right, let's fiddle with it. Let's get that in there. This is easy. It's just down here that you're kind of concerned. So I'm gonna pin this shut right here, so then this isn't pulling apart right there and kind of fighting me while I kind of finesse this little spot right here. Just poke in all those raw edges. Really let it know who's boss. Like, get nice edges there. I want it to be a little wider to cover it up. And push that in there. And then my awl is going to be really handy. And then also, I'm going to trim all these little threads poking out. They're a problem. Hi, Lindsay. Hi, Emily. Were you already here, Emily? Welcome. Ah, nice. Well, I think you could, Ray, like, you could technically do the same thing I'm doing on the outside, but I feel like it might make it bulky. I mean, right now, like, it's finished, right, on the inside. So if I wanted, I guess I could, you know, fold this under and then hand stitch it. I don't know. It's funny because the shirt I'm wearing today is a popover placket, you know, it's the Cheyenne tunic. They're really not that bad to sew, and you could do this one in a similar fashion. All right, so I'm just gonna start sewing this down, and I'm gonna have my awl handy here. So I'm just looking at this. I'm trying to get the band nice and straight. And you can see, I can see this little part poking out. So I'm going to push that in with my awl. I'm going to trim those threads right there. Any little backstitch threads or stuff like on that seam line, they're going to be a problem. They're going to sneak out of the seam. All right, and then I'm going to use my awl to pull it over like this. And same thing here. I'm going to poke that in there. Poke my fold edge there, and now I'm going to start straightening this out. I thought that was a thread. Just like that. And now I can do the whole box stitch thing. So the only thing I'm doing differently than the instructions here is I sewed across the bottom of this little placket before, like right sides together, and clean finished it. Do I want an X there? I'm trying to think. What do I want? If I do it at an X, it's like at an angle. I could have gone, wait, if I went straight across, how would that look? No, I'll just do the X. I should have thought of that before I started. All right, I have to cough again. Why not serge that bit? Are you being funny or are you being serious? I mean, you mean like this right here? I can't really. See, it's just a raw edge. You know what I could have done? I could have tucked it in there. No. You know what? I could have tucked it in there when I stitched this long edge. Because see, here it is. And here, I don't know if can you see my stitching. So when I finished this long stitch edge right here, right? That's right here. I could have folded it under. Yeah, I don't think I can serge this. They're having siding installed. What? Yeah, definitely let it know who's boss. I'm not worried about it fraying, you guys. It'll be fine. I just think it's an odd, it's just sitting there. This is a little lopsided. I could have stitched this a little nicer, but that looks pretty good. Nice and clean finish. Very sturdy, which I like, you know. But this is... Okay. You can just trim off this neckline, neckline edge right here. Trim it flush with your neckline. I would redo your back stitches right there if you started above your neckline, so like I did. I started above. Try and stay in the seam allowance here. I don't back tack all the time for certain things, but this you don't really want that kind of popping away when you're starting to do your neckband, you know? Oh, before all the edges. I guess you could. You would have those tails, though, of your serger there. I think the thing to do would be just do the same thing as the front, where you could fold it right sides together and sew across the end. Or, like I said, just tuck it in there when you go to top stitch this one down. Because it's hanging loose. Like right now, I could actually pull out these stitches and do it. But we all know how I feel about back tacks being in the middle. Should we just do that? Let's just do it. We're gonna keep talking about it, I know it. I'm gonna put my back stitch right here in this print, not right here. Let's figure out a solution, because I don't think that would be hard, you know? I do love that they start from the wrong side and go to the right side. So some fabrics you might not want to mess around with all this top stitching, right? It's like, they're like, we need the money, we need to get this job done, we're backed up. Will the siding be okay if it's installed in the snow? You know, like, usually, like, you know, when you install something, they're like, it must be 68 degrees on a full moon. You know. Ooh, I shouldn't have committed to this, huh? Tell me a story. I'll be happier if it's finished inside. A lot of popover plackets do have a raw edge in there, but this one I think is pretty easy to not make it that way, so we'll do it. Okay. All right, let's see. What do we have left? Just you. Are you still attached? I think I'm not using the same bobbin as my upper thread. I thought I was. It seems a little lighter. Or was that? Yeah. That was my bobbin back there, right? Yeah. Okay. Just a little bit right there. All right, so let's restitch. Let's try it. This fabric seems pretty stable that I could take this out, but if I were doing this maybe on like double gauze, ooh gosh. If you're doing on double gauze, good luck. Or rayon, then I would probably not do it. All right, so on this side, this little thing here, it's already stitched. So could we just do this? Right? If that were stitched down like this, long wait. If I put that right there, line it up with that edge I'm about to stitch down, right? Like that. I'm going to pin it perpendicular to this seam. No, I want to pin it perpendicular to this one. That's where I'm at. This one here. So I pin it perpendicular to this one here. I'm about to sew that. I can just sew right over it, hopefully. All right, let's try. And then put my back stitch here. Wait, let me get rid of this thread tail here. Yeah. All right. I'm approaching it now. Let me tuck that in there, pull you over. It's better behaved this time since it's already been sewn once. Took out that pin. Try and keep all your fronts, both your front, nice and flat so you don't distort this little spot here either. So now I kind of want to go straight across right here. Oh, look, there it is. There it is. Okay, so maybe not. Maybe we'll go all the way up to here and straight across right there. That's what we're going to do. Okay, so that is straight right here. Let me see. Okay, so that's what I did. So I did a box, but I went straight across right here to kind of connect this point. And you could still do a box. And then now that is pretty much clean finished in there. A little better. You have a little bit of a raw edge, but that's better. What do we think? I think I'll still do, I don't know. I'm just going to leave it. All right, let's just move on. All right, we're going to do the, nope. Darts, shoulders, and I'll do the collar, maybe. What time is it? It's already 1. Okay, yeah, we're okay. All right, darts, collar, maybe the sleeve ruffle. Tidier, exactly. Hi, Shanique, how's it going? Nice. What are you having for lunch? I want to know. It's your lunch break, so are you in the West Coast too then? Or do you must take late lunches? It seems like a lovely pattern to double gauze. It actually would be, you're right, it could be. I just am not a fan of sewing double gauze. Oh no, did I lose my pin over here? Dang it, after all that, can I see where it was? Oh, I can. It was right there. But which hole was it? Was it this one? Ooh, oh, Seattle. There's someone else from Seattle here. Homemade vegetable soup. That sounds really good. We had butternut squash soup with coconut and lime in it last night. And my husband, the last time he was at the farmer's market, found the butternut squash from a seller who already peels, cores it, and chunks it up for you. I was kind of surprised. I'm just looking for the end of this dart, sorry. Oh, hi. Is that why you called me? Yeah. Oh. Speak of the devil. No, I wasn't actually talking about you. Thank you. You bring me lunch? Yeah. Speak of the lunch devil. That's nice of you. Thanks.
What are you talking about?
The lunch patootie. You want to say hi?
No.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm almost done.
Cool. All right. Have fun.
Okay, thanks.
See you later.
Yay. I was like, who is going to walk into my office when it says I'm live? Oh, I thought she was in the Seattle area. Hello, husband. He said he was the lunch patootie. That's the first time I've heard of embrace the term. All right, let me tie my darts off here. And remember, I left a little bit of extra on the side seam for the shaping of the dart, because I just wasn't sure. So when I push the dart, do you guys like to push your darts up or down on the side seam? I feel like I was taught to push them up, right? I don't even know anymore. No, I think it's a burrito. He knows my love language. But that does sound kind of good. I didn't even think about checking to see if there was leftover soup. That's funny. So I used to always know what this was, because it took me a while to remember which way to press a dart, right? And then when I entered the home sewing world, people were talking about how some companies encourage you to push the dart the other direction because it makes the bust look less full. You press down. Yeah, so maybe it's pushing it up makes the bust look less full. Like in the curvy sewing realm, that's what I thought I was taught. Anyway. All right, so now that I can push this down, I can trim this side here flush like that. That's all. I wasn't sure if the dart was going to allow for that. The way the pattern was, it was probably totally fine. It might, Michelle. I've kind of lost, you know, why, you know, it matters. If I thought about it, like if I'm not like focused on other things, I could probably remember, but I actually don't. And I think it is just the shaping of the weight in relation to the bust. Darts are really easy carry when you get to them. Don't worry. I feel like a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on them. But honestly, I will tell you, my tips are don't backstitch the point here. Always hand tie it. And I'm someone that used to always cut corners, but that is one thing I still do. Don't backstitch, and then practice. Don't cut off the seam allowance unless you really want to. Some people like to overlock them. Don't make them as precious as people make them sound. That's my tip. Oh, in the curvy realm, Michelle, some folks are trying to like unaccentuate their bust. Yeah, so it doesn't show. Yeah, so I think it just doesn't. I feel like it's one of those things we've did for so long as sewists. And it was supposed to be that way. And now we realize, does it really matter? So, exactly. That's exactly it, Nancy. That's what I was trying to figure out. The hand tie the dart. It's funny. I'm going to take my sweater off because it's really hot. I wish I could just clip that to my machine, but definitely can't. All right, shoulders. I'm taking forever to do this, aren't I? All right, we're going to do the French seams because we allowed for it. So, wrong sides together. I'm using pink thread, which I thought, I don't know about pink thread, but I actually really like it. Yeah, but like I've always been someone to not want to accentuate my bust, Michelle, and I had never heard that tip until I got to the home sewing world. So I really appreciate the fact that people are thinking about things like that and kind of testing like the whys, you know. Why is it like that? You know, like there's not as many rules in sewing as we think there are. All right, let's press this really quick. I changed my mouse for a demonstration, and it's very inaccurate now. Like I made it gigantic and visible, but it's not very accurate. I had to press things a few times. Oops, I just put a nice fat wrinkle in there. So I like the wool felt on my ironing board that I made yesterday, and my ironing board cover fits the one at home even better than the one here, which was really nice. The shoulders, like where that nose right here, right at that spot where it goes to the base of the board, on this machine, or this board here, is a little wider than that cover. And then I was able to cut the rest of the pieces in the fabric remaining, so that's exciting. You hand tie the tip and then thread the tails and you'll run it back through the fold. Oh yeah, that's awesome. A lot of times now I do this other thing where I don't backstitch on the tip, but what I do is, in fact, if you don't want to hand tie, this is what I recommend. As long as you know for sure, certain your darts are in the right spot and you like them. So when you come down to the end here, I leave my needle down, I turn it around, and I go back into the meat of the dart and I backstitch in there. Yeah. They cut the seam allowance out for the heavier fabrics or things they really want to be low profile. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just very much a commitment to the dart. Okay, so we're gonna start this neckband. And I'm gonna sew this differently from the instructions, but kind of the same general thing, where I'm gonna sew this so that the inside neckband, I'm going to sew it first. I'm going to attach it to the wrong side here. I don't know if there's a shoulder knot. Why aren't there notches? Come on. Oh, so when you're doing something like a circle like this, here's one big tip, especially if you're going around the circle. Line it up. Pick this piece up, flip it over, and sew inside the circle. If you sew like this, eventually you'll get stuck. It's kind of hard to explain. It's just one of those weird logistic things it's like when you're sewing a one-piece arm facing and you want to clean finish the neck and the armholes, and you're like, why can't I turn this right side out? I don't understand. It's kind of one of those weird little pickles. I'm going to start from the center back and go towards the neck, or towards the center front. I'm going to line that up about where I think it's going to go. But there isn't any darts in between, weirdly. Maybe they would just be too confusing. I'm a little worried about, oh, I didn't stay stitch. I should have stay stitched. That would be best. I'm a little worried about this neckband because it doesn't have interfacing being a little bit stretched out. And this pinning these kinds of curves is kind of tough, so I just kind of go for it. All right, and then remember when you're sewing things like this, I'll show you on the other one actually. It'll be easier. I'm going to show you here. So one thing to think about, I don't really want to draw on this, but Remember that this neckband has a 3/8 inch seam, right? So it's like right here. And this has a 3/8 inch seam, right? So this right here, this little point where that 3/8 and 3/8 comes together, that should land right here on the center front neck thing, right? Because that's 3/8 of an inch down. So that's how that should line up. So don't get confused with these angles and these points. Don't think about those. I like to just go, okay, where's that actual seam line, the finished amount? And then it kind of keeps me in the right place. So I'm like, I lay it on there and I'm looking, okay, my 3/8 is about right there. I want it to line up on that point there. Always think of things where they're supposed to finish rather than how they're looking and how weird it looks. All right, we'll go from the front towards the back for a change here. Try not to pull anything. I'm pressing my shoulder seams towards the back. I'm getting closer now, so let's make sure I'm going to make it. And I don't want a little like tuck at my shoulder, so I'm kind of pushing that away. Am I going to make it? Am I going to make it? Yep, should be fine. If you're on the seam line, it should be fine. All right. This isn't really a collar, it's a neckband because it's laying flat against the body. All right, so I'm going to clip the neckline. I sort of wish I would have sewn the interior edge right here, this rounded edge, first, right sides together, and then set it on, but oh well. It's almost like there's a few different ways to do things, and all of them have their own little drawback, you know? I'm going to clip this from this side because I'm scared I'm going to clip the shirt. Yeah, exactly, Barbara. You know, there's a lot of clever things like that about 5 out of 4 patterns. It's like they give you the benefits of having that kind of detail without all of the stress of having it have to like line up or match up, and that's pretty clever. Oh, my label. Okay. That's a little wider than 3/8 there, isn't that? I have so many labels now that I keep wanting to use. Party dress. Cutie. This one kind of matches a little bit. Ow. Those, did you see that they came out, Kylie and the Machine came out with kids labels? I want those. They're really cute. Like, I don't feel like they're just for kids. Oh, nice, Libby. Well, is it nice? Oh, nice. That's pretty cool. Is she wanting you to do work? Because, like, do we need to tell her, hey, your mom is not your sewing maven? Right, Nancy? I know. We don't have Megan anymore to remind me. I'm going to open up my seam right there and add those two in there right now. Because, yeah, it's kind of a bummer when I forget on things like this that are clean finished. Kind of hard to add them afterward. The Azores I had to hand stitch in there on the yoke. That was like kind of less than ideal, you know? Should I maybe put it on top like this? I like it on top like that, but I don't want to take out my center back. I don't want to take out the back stitch. So I'm just going to put it side by side. Okay, so this one has a pretty narrow seam allowance. All right. All right, and then we'll put this one in on this side. I'm not really into mint green at all. This is a better seam allowance on, oh no, it's actually shorter than mine? What? Kind of. Okay. All right, so now we're gonna put this one right sides together. See, now you can see why I wish I would have done this first, because this is a little tricky getting past these little edges right here, you know? All right, I think I'll keep this one on top. And so this one underneath. All right, so we're gonna put this right sides together. We're gonna line that up like this, and then we're going to let it fold up. They don't need to line up, but they do need to, so right on that edge there. I'm gonna do a shorter stitch length around the curve. All right, and now I'm gonna look for my center notch at the back here, right there, because that one's non-negotiable. Oh, it says I make my own clothes. It's just a little sewing machine. I make my own clothes. Now this one's not interfaced. It could have been a little easier to keep it on the underside because the feed dogs would help me ease it in, but we looked at it on the ironing board, and you know, it really wasn't much, you know, bigger. It wasn't really bigger to speak of. It's just that interfaced one is so less forgiving, you know. So this is what I'm talking about, because I didn't flip it around. Now my garment, I had to flip it inside out. That's what I'm talking about. When you don't flip the garment over when you sew a neckline or something like that, you're gonna get stuck. And this only worked out because my garment can be turned, but some of them can't. I'm not explaining this well. Oh, and I never explained to you about the grain line thing, but I'll tell you about it sometime. They all have heard me rant about it many times. I've even recorded 2 videos and not posted them. Mainly because I feel like people are going to be like, what company is that? And it's not just one company, but there is one company in particular that I have a little trouble with, that I really like the fabrics of. All right. I feel like I just pushed that down a little bit. Look at my seam allowance is pretty narrow right there. All right, Bernadette, have a good day. They don't do international shipping. What are you looking for, Bernadette? That narrow interfacing. Have you tried Minerva? Do they sell something like that? Good luck finding it. Yeah, we'll just have to come in person. Ray's right. Oh, wow. What kind of food is she chef for? I got so close to my stitch line right there. I don't know how to ask that. What, like, or is that telling too much about her? Yeah, it's something I definitely need to demonstrate though, Carrie. It's kind of hard to explain. The basic gist is if your fabric isn't cut perfectly on the cross grain when they cut it and it's off, you end up getting shorted yardage. You may end up having the fold 2.5 yards on the fold and the 2.5 yards on each selvage. But because when they line up, they're folded selvage to selvage, because you have such a diagonal line at both cut edges, it can prevent you from cutting things like pants, or you end up having to cut every single piece individually. That's fine. Like, it's fine to cut things individually. It's more accurate. But a lot of people don't, and it can prevent you from having enough yardage for your project. That's mainly it. Oh, the stuff I got from Waywack, Barbara, that I thought it's Tricot. I thought it was going to be stretchy, but it's only stretchy on the short width, but it's really helpful. Like, I love using it for things like plackets and waistbands and welts and pocket openings. I use the heck out of that roll. So it's really affordable, and it is just really convenient that it's like a narrow roll rather than a big bolt. It makes it so that I'm more accurate when I cut my things like that. So I'm really tempted to trim this down. So you see all this seam allowance in there? Like, I don't really like all this, but here's the argument to keep it. Because it meets at the center, it'll fill your neckband up, which means that you won't get that little dip in the center of your neckband where your seam allowances aren't. There's an argument for it. All right, so we're gonna iron this, and then we're gonna finish it. So I'm just gonna iron all this seam allowance up into the neckband there. This is where an ironing board would be kind of helpful. When you have a flat ironing board, you get kind of good at figuring out the logistics of getting your iron in there. Okay. Oh, I have a tuck right there. See that? Oh, do I? Oh, I don't. Oh, that was weird. Sometimes you get little tucks when you're right along things like plackets. See, it's trying to make a tuck there. It'll be fine. All right, so now I'm going to press the collar stand or the neckband. I'm going to press it so that the seam allowance is towards the neckband. This feels really awkward, like I did this in the wrong order. I'm just pressing the seam allowance towards the neckband under here. And now I'm going to fold it along that edge there. So I'm going to trim this right here on this curve. It's definitely going to give me problems if I don't. I need a drink of water again. Yeah, I do use a ham. Traditional French technique with a Nordic twist and ingredients. Ooh, so what does the Nordic twist and ingredients mean? Yeah, a ham would be pretty handy here. It's underneath. So this is the right side of my garment. I don't want to press those collars, you know, because I don't want to melt them. I don't know if they will. Press them like that will be fine. Yeah, I think if I sew this again, I would do this in a different order. So I would assemble the two pieces together first. So I would sew it along this inner curve. I would definitely stay stitch the neckline. That's not causing me any problems, but I like to remind people to do it. I'm pretty bad about doing that. And I would also put a line of stitches just inside the seam allowance along this curved edge so that it would be easy to turn under right like this. You don't have 100. Good to know. All right, so do I want to add that shaping stitch? You know, it would be handy, but at this point, I'm not sure. So when you get to these little points here, this is pretty tricky because of these angles. You know, on a collar stand, this is at a right angle to this right here. And so you're trying to carry this seam to this placket and have a nice transition there. But it gets really tricky. I mean, I can feel that this is just too much bulk in here. So we'll just trim a little bit more of it away from the point there. I don't want to trim this point down quite yet. Like the urge is there, trust me. I want to just like lop it off. But I find that when you trim this really close, like you know, like on a corner of a collar point and you turn it right side out, you know how you lop off that corner. I don't recommend doing that on here because you end up losing some bargaining power with the collar. So sometimes what I do is, you know, I'll just fuss with it, like pulling it up there, and then I see if that'll work. The other thing you could try is putting it right sides together for just even a 1/2 inch. If you can sew this seam right here, roll up your placket in here, right? Put the two curved neck edges together and sew them right sides together for just even a 1/2 inch. It'll make it a lot easier. Right now, I'm not sure I can do that because I've caught my placket in this edge right here. See that? Maybe I can on the other side. Let's see. No, I caught my placket on that one too. So I could just take out the placket stitch there and then try and sew this right sides together just for a tiny bit right here. It's very narrow in there though. Let's see if I press this open. This is probably the trickiest part of this dress. So I'm doing this on the right side of the garment, and then that way we have we can see what's happening. We don't have to worry if we're catching it on the other side. Now you'll see me use more pins than I ever do combined. See, I bake, I don't cook. I like the science of baking. I don't really understand it. I understand it with desserts, but with bread baking, I haven't delved into that. I love that there's like chemical reactions and, you know, an order of operations and, you know, and I've been thinking about it because of how we've been talking a lot about home sewing patterns and what we should expect. And in the guild, you know, I had that poll, like, do you think a pattern company should give you all the sewing instructions on how to do everything, as if you don't know how to, like you've never sewn, like, okay, to sew the shoulder seams together, this is what you're going to do, rather than it saying, oh, sew your shoulders together, you know. And most people would go, oh, okay, I see what seam allowance it is, I sew the shoulders right sides together, I know to finish the seam. Or do you want it to say, you know, place it like this, sew on the seam line, you know. In baking, they really don't tell you much. They just say, do this step. And you're like, oh, okay. You don't realize that that step has like 15 other steps to it. And unless you have had experience with like failing, or you've seen someone else do it, or someone told you, or they give you a hint, right? You don't know sometimes. I have this long thread here for some reason. Oh, it was my bottom line when I took out. So, you know, I like it when I'm doing a baking recipe and it's like, okay, do this thing. And they know that that particular step is not very common. They'll say, you do this by doing this. And it's still not very detailed, but at least you know, oh, okay. Or at least you know to look it up. Now we have, you know, Google. Baking was so largely in part being handed down. I'm having trouble right here meeting this edge right here, but look at how big that seam allowance is. Why am I having trouble? It should be really easy. I'm trying to get a nice smooth curve on this edge. That's why I say stitching along this edge first. And then when you have that stitch line, folding it up, that might be easier to get a nice smooth curve. Right, Carrie? I know. We're like, oh, okay. I own the book, The Cake Bible. And when I started doing recipes out of there, I was like, oh, this is out of my league. This is the big time. I've been doing all this stuff all wrong. No wonder that never comes out. I like making cheesecakes occasionally, but I'm not well versed in it. I have a spring pouring pan. I do it in a water bath, but I don't really care if it cracks, to be honest. It tastes the same. I mean, it's cheesecake, so. Night, Mullen. How's it going? How's it going? Have a nice night. I'm getting hungry. Sorry, I'm getting kind of punchy. Okay. Get those guys in there. You know what, also, I cheat sometimes and I will put stuff in the microwave to soften like butter when they say not to do that. But I've gotten really good at doing it so that it's not to the point where it affects it. Oh, dang, Nancy. Did you just miss did you like walk away? Like put it on a stand mixer and walk away? That's funny. Yeah, you really can't over mix the butter and sugar. They want it to be fluffy usually, and you really have to start from it being cold. That's pretty hard. I made not shortbread, butter cookies the other day, and I totally shortcutted it, and it made a big detrimental impact. The shortbread, the cookies, not shortbread, what did I say, butter cookies, they were so hard, and it was because I took the shortcut of the butter in the microwave. I know that's what it was. They tasted good. They were just so hard that it just kind of took away from the enjoyment of it. This little spot is really tough. All right. This is so hard. So let's see, what would make this easier? What's my obstacle here? I can get this curve, but getting this point right here, getting that in there. We're so close to being able to sew it. I think I'm going to trim down this one a little bit. And I think it's also because the placket gets caught in the seam, it makes it hard to bend it over. It's an obstacle to what you're folding in there. This is fussy. And I do think it's partly that placket is in the way. Oh, interesting. I like Anthony Bourdain. I miss him. You would have removed the interfacing from the front seam allowance and used the edge as a guide for folding it under. Oh, interesting, Terry. You would remove the interfacing? See, what it is when I sewed this seam along the top edge, it caught the seam allowance or the placket up into the seam allowance right there. Can you see right here? See this placket, this is the placket going into the seam of that edge. Those 3 stitches right there, it makes it really rigid. See, this placket is really rigid in there. What I could do is try and trim the placket way down, and maybe it'll pop out of the stitches a little bit. Oh, it's very fiddly. Sorry, guys. I'm just like, I can't trim that too far down. This is just too fiddly. I think I would change the angle of the pattern, to be honest. I love angled plackets. I think they're really cute, but it makes it really hard right there. Look at that, it looks terrible. I'm gonna use my awl to kind of force it in there. Hope I can get enough of it turned under that when I edge stitch it, I'll catch it all. Okay, that helped a lot. Just using my awl to kind of slide it in there. All right, okay. It's not a collar stand. It's more like a neckband. See, because it's laying flat. You know, I decided not to review any 5 out of 4 patterns because I'm technically an ambassador. All right, so I'm going to top stitch around the whole perimeter, and I'm going to start at the center back. So I'm going to come around, go up around this edge here, and then just make a big circle. All right, and same thing, you need to lift this up like this. All right, both my labels are pressed down. I'm gonna have my awl handy. Just make sure that folded edge is just past your stitch line. You guys see okay? Yeah, they call it a neckband, so it's more like the edge of the neckline has been replaced with this narrow band. So yeah, it just lays flat against the body, not a collar. It looks a lot like a collar stand or a mandarin collar. Oh, you know, and the few of you that are wanting the Malin left, but wanting the capsule wardrobe group, I'm sorry I haven't made it yet. I just haven't been on my computer with the guild for a few days, so I've only been doing it on my phone. I will create that though. I think it'll be fun. Okay, this is my little touchy spot. So it seems to be holding pretty good. Oh, I think it did push it a little bit past my placket. That might just be the casualty I'm going to have to endure. I'd rather this be a little flatter. Okay. Ooh, I'm really glad I picked the pink stitching. I've come a long way from only using cream thread for everything. Pins are poking me. All right, coming around to the other front. This one's not as fiddly, but I do have these back stitch threads right here. See that? Those are a problem. Bye. I'm gonna pull this out a little bit. I'm gonna mash this in. I don't know what this little thread is. Is that just, okay, it's just a fuzz. All right. Whew. The Cheyenne tunic, I'm wearing that one. It's actually very similar. The microphone's pulling my body's open. It's very similar. It is more like a neckband than a collar. But the placket, it does go away from the center front. It's very similar. The main difference would be that the Cheyenne, when the plackets come down and meet, they actually overlap for quite a bit. So you have like a button placket below. Whereas this one, it doesn't have a functional button placket. It's more like a nicely finished V-neck placket, a placketed V-neck. Do you guys see why I'm like, oh, this is kind of like an alternative to the Azor's dress, because it's got the drawstring in the waist, you know, so it'll cinch it in. It has the sleeve ruffle and the ruffle at the hem. I don't know, there's just something about the silhouette of it kind of reminds me. Maybe I'm stretching that a little bit too much. All right, so see, I went off my neckband on the inside, but no one's going to see that except in the photos, which is kind of a bummer, right? Haven't made the Cheyenne in a while, but yeah, I think that one is easier because the V is more subtle. And so you don't have that sharp of an angle. And then the popover on the inside is more finished. I love this tunic, by the way. Like, I love that style, that kind of popover style. I'm kind of busting out of mine right now. The microphone's pulling on it a little bit. But yeah, let's see how it looks. Looks cute. Maybe I'd go back and fiddle with that, but honestly, you know, what could I do? I could, you know, put this a little bit higher up so that it ends on the neckband, but let's get rid of this little thread here. Cute. Let's zoom out a little bit. Yeah, so this one is more of a like a V-neck, whereas this one, it does veer out. Like, you wouldn't button this closed, pretty sure. No, this one does angle gently. It's much more gentle. Yeah. What do you think? I think this looks really cute. So then Saturday, I will be putting on the sleeve ruffle, fully assembling the skirt, which has the hem ruffle, the waistband, raw cord, and side seam pockets. And we'll do that on the front with a French seam as well. So thanks for putting up with me today. I know my pattern Tetris was quite involved. And yeah, and then I took out that placket right there. But we're glad we did, right? It looks nice and clean on the inside. See how it looks on the inside? Looks like a V right there. So same thing here. See how my stitching falls under the neckband? It's still finished. See, like the seam is still sewn. No one's going to see that, and it looks nice on the outside. If you were maybe sewing a few of these and you could practice, then you could probably nail it. But, you know, this was my first time. So, cool. Yeah, I'm really happy with this fabric. It came in a yellow colorway too, which is really pretty. No, Ray, you're always so nice. Thank you. All right, well, thanks for coming, you guys. I'll see you Saturday. We'll finish this up. I'm looking forward to this. I won't be able to wear it for a bit, but I was hoping to be wearing the Azor's dress, so, but it got a little cold for it, so maybe Saturday. Thanks for coming. Next week, I'm not streaming again. It's like an every other week thing now. Highly recommend checking out the guild, sosoguild.com. You can check it out. I should update that page to kind of trim it down a little bit. It's been really nice though. It's been really awesome. And I'm doing some workshops. Workshop meaning like it's a live Zoom session and people come and they work on whatever project. If they have a question, they can chat or whatever. I do the skill building sessions, and then I have this monthly call-in show that's only in the guild. We've done one and it was really fun. Ray was my first caller. It's really awesome. No one's called yet for this month, but I haven't told you guys yet, so I'll start bugging you about it. It's coming up on the last Friday of the month, which is in a couple of weeks. So, all right, you guys, have a good rest of your week. Have a good Friday. I'll see you Saturday. Happy sewing.